Hey there, it's Christina. This is Chamomile. That was my ice machine. Welcome back to the Dharma Podcast. Today is just one of those days where it's like, I feel like my mind and my body are in like two different places. My mind's in this room, my body's in a different room. It's like being in a funk, you know. I'm just in a funk today. And last night, I don't know, funks are hard to get out of sometimes. Maybe it's because of the weather. It could also be because the holidays just passed. Maybe I should sit up. Hello, and how are you doing today, sir? Great, thanks. Like, time is just moving so slow today. And I slept in, and I didn't want to get out of bed. And I didn't want to do anything. I didn't even make myself a shot of espresso yet this morning. So maybe that will help too.
It's just one of those days where you don't want to wake up. Everybody's.
The mood of today is very light, very almost hazy. It's almost like time is like moving slower. Does that make sense to you? I'll notice that I'm maybe not responding in a way that's out of patience, or maybe not responding at all. I'm very slow. It's moving slow. My mind is being like, for me, these funks don't slip in loudly. They arrive very quietly. They almost like a fog. You wake up and you can see like the fog in the valley, and it's like very light, but it's disorienting. Like, if you look out your window and you see fog, you're like, oh my gosh, there's so much fog outside. But it's just like light mess. Like, it's no big deal in the long run, right? Like, it goes away, it'll fade. But this is kind of like the way funks feel. Like, I don't know a better word to use. It's just being in a funk. I'm in a funk. You've been in a funk. Or maybe you haven't. That's cool. I haven't journaled in a couple days. And I know it's crazy because the last video, it was just posted last week, but it was recorded a few weeks prior, maybe even almost a month prior. And I was like, I'm writing my journal every day. I'm doing so great. I'm so happy. Like, things are awesome. Blah, 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 blah.
Blah, blah, blah. Proper name, place name, backstory stuff.
Yeah, that, okay, well, my journal got, let's say my journal got ruined. Like, something, it's just like, I had to throw it away. Okay, well, now it sounds suspicious. My cat peed on my journal, and it was like, I was crying, and I was like, you know what I write in my journal? Incredibly personal thing. Everyday gratitude. I've got a list of like children's names in there. If I ever have a child, random goals. And when it first happened, I was just kind of like, okay. And it was after the fact that, like, I started to really, like, boil over. And I think that's because when you're meditating and you're journaling and they go hand in hand, eventually you're like, oh, I'm doing great. I don't need this. And that's because you're seeing the blooming, you're seeing the sprouts from those seeds that you planted. But in order to keep them growing, you need to keep watering them. And when you stop meditating and you stop journaling, or you stop doing whatever, like, fills your cup, you let the plant die. So even though I was okay for a few days, I was like, not even noticing that, you know, this has affected me. A few days later, I was like, really could not understand why I'm feeling so emotional, and, like, I guess, like, a lack of control in all these different pieces of my life, like how I'm responding and how I'm reacting and feeling. So I'm not journaling every day. I did order a journal online, which is a shame because as soon as I ordered it, I saw a much cuter one. And I'll just have to wait. I'll just have to wait until I fill it up. And that will be a great motivation to write every day. The quicker I fill it up, the quicker I get this very, very cute one that kind of matches the vibe I go for. But you know what? Like, even being able to recognize that, wow, maybe this is because I've stopped journaling. Oh, wow, maybe this is because I've stopped being so consistent on this practice and this practice. Even being able to recognize that, I think, is worth celebrating, right? Like, I could have gone months. I could have gone an entire year in this funk and been like, why do I feel this way? Why is it such a constant feeling I have? But my practices have allowed me to become more aware of these things over a shorter period of time. So who knows, next time this happens, if I'm consistent with my practice, then maybe it'll only be a day before I'm like, this is what I need. So pretty. So we've all been in funks. Maybe yours looks different than mine. Is it about the same exact thing? Maybe. But most likely not. Like, everyone's got their own stuff. Everyone's got their things that they've got going on. And what's going to put you in a funk is going to be something totally different. Like, this person can probably handle that a lot differently than you. But this thing that you're handling very well might be much harder for that person. Sorry, Strava. So we know what a funk feels like. It feels like there's a disconnection, right? Like, my body and my mind are in two separate places, and my emotions, like, they're all out of sync. The ducks are not in a row. The ducks are knocked over, falling off the shelf. A lull in your inner rhythm, so to say. Tasks that usually ground me, you know, lighting an incense, watering my plants, going on walks, you know, drinking my coffee, looking out the window, all these kind of things that normally I feel very good about. They, like, just feel so mechanic when I'm in a funk. It feels like I'm moving in water, right? Like, you know, if you ever try to make a whirlpool in your pool, and then, like, you're going one way, and then you guys are like, okay, and then you turn around and you try to go the other way, and it's like pushing you back, And it's fun. It's fun when you're doing it. You're like, oh my gosh, wow, that was so strong, so powerful. It's not fun when it feels like that's happening in real life. Like, I'm feeling really emotional right now because I've done all this work to get to that place. And now I've turned around because I said, oh, all that work is done, now I can turn around. But you got to keep doing the work to move in the right direction. Otherwise, you're going the opposite way in the whirlpool, and it's just hard. And we all have moments like this. Like every person you've ever met, every person you walk past on the street, we've all had moments like this. And we will all continue to have moments like this every now and then. So instead of resisting, what if we just sat there? What if we just sat with that funky feeling? Not judging it, not trying to change it, just being aware, right? Like, did I want to get up and record? No, but I knew it would make me feel better. And I knew it was a good way to sit with that emotion and be able to work through it. I'm not trying to change it. I'm just trying to put words to it. And putting words to it did change it a little bit, right? Because now I'm feeling a little more clear, like I'm feeling a little more clear head. How's the phrase? Even head. Level-headed. I'm feeling a little more level-headed. I'm feeling a little more like I just took sage and cleansed the inside of my mind and my body and my soul. Like, talking through it is something that helped for me. Not everyone's going to be able to do that. Like, what are some other things we can do? I would recommend breath work. Close your eyes, take a deep breath. Allow that breath to move through every corner of your body, every stagnant, cobweb-filled corner. Allow the funk to sink. Until you feel ready to re-enter the space around you. You can also try grounding rituals for whatever works for you. Maybe a nice little tea ceremony. Maybe you light an incense or some Palo Santos and you meditate, or you put on even a pre-recorded meditation, like something guided. Sometimes when I'm in a funk, like, I cannot guide myself through a meditation because my mind is here and here, but also here and here. So using something like on Insight Timer is nice, or on Wake Upism. That's nice too. Sometimes even I just like to, you can just light a candle and just watch the flame. And I find that to be very grounding and very relaxing even, right? You begin to notice different things, and like as it melts, it becomes very almost like sentient in your mind. Or at least for me. But maybe also you try to reconnect with small joys. Right? Like, I mentioned that I used to love painting, and I used to love hiking, but I don't do those things anymore because my time has been filled up with like scrolling. But you know what I did is actually last night I went online and I ordered a watercolor kit because it used to be my favorite medium to paint, and I feel like I'm out of practice and I've lost it. And I read, but I'm just like not as interested in. This is, oh, he left. All right, I'm back. I had to let Oolong out of the room. He, cats. But that brings me to my next point. Knock this down again. Hold on. How to get out of funk? You connect with soft joys, right? Like, my gosh, if I can show you my camera roll after being off social media, it is an everyday gratitude practice. I get to cuddle up with chamomile. Or Oolong. Look at him. Look at this sweet boy. He's curled up. I just love them so much. I get to curl up with my boys. I know that will make it would make my heart melt. And when you get to practice that little bit of mindfulness of like looking at your cat or whatever pet you have really closely and really focusing on them, you're just like, oh my God, how did I get so lucky to have such a beautiful and soft and sweet little baby like you? Oh. Sometimes that was an airplane outside. But sometimes I also just make the effort to put my favorite food in my favorite bowl, and I think it's cute, and I will lay in a spot that's sunny, just like a cat. I'm like a little cat. Put my things in my bowl. I lay in a sunny spot. I love sitting in the morning and being like, oh my God, these chickpea flour eggs are so good. Oh my God, and look at them in my cute bowl with my cute little espresso glass. And it's got oat milk in it. I love oat milk. And look at my cute baby. He's laying there and he's curled up in a little ball. And look at my other baby. He's sitting on a windowsill. And look at these curtains. It's not even curtains. This is a skirt that I hung up, and the sun shines through, and it's beautiful, and it makes this orange glowy light come in. And here are my mixed match pillows, and here are my prayer flags, and here's my calendar that I got from my mom and my brother, and it's got birds in it, and I love birds. And I have prayer flags above my kitchen counter, and I have this beautiful rug, and I have this, look at how cute this blanket is. I got it from a bins, and some lady and I were arguing over who got to open their stuff first, and it was really weird. But anyways, I digress. Look at how pretty it is. This is like this whole life, this plant on this cardboard box that's a rainbow. This whole life is so very 13 going on 30. It's so very Molly Gunn and Uptown Girls. It's so very 50 First Dates. I've been building this life since I was a kid, in my dreams, in my daydreams. And I have it. Everything is so pretty. And finding these soft joys are just like almost overwhelming. How can you be in a funk when you're surrounded by all this good that you've curated? Like, you've curated all the good and all the pretty, and it's not an episode of Girl Dharma if I don't start absolutely crying over something so mundane, right? So I invite you to notice your own soft joys and your own small joys. What is something simple that you can savor today? Maybe it's the sound of light rain outside, or maybe you also have snow on the ground and it's brightening up your space and in your home. Maybe you can have a very nice hot beverage, a little tea, a little matcha, a little espresso, whatever is your cup of tea, you know? I don't know if I should just I need to really get better at not rambling, I think. A work in progress. By episode 108, I will have this down. The last little tidbit I want, I guess, to remind you is just to trust the rhythm of life. Funk, just like every other little emotion you have, is just a part of the ebb and flow of life. Remind yourself that it's important to slow down and listen and nurture yourself and be gentle with yourself always, always, always. I trust the rhythm of life. Even in stillness, I'm growing. Thank you for sitting with me in this moment. Thank you for giving me the space to talk through things, because how I was feeling when I first pressed record is entirely different than how I'm feeling now, and I'm so incredibly grateful for that. I'm grateful for the opportunity to speak through my emotions. I'm grateful for the space to do so. I'm grateful for the desire to do so, the want to do so. Just know that if you are in a funk, you're not alone. Everyone feels this way, and even though it feels very isolating, it's so, so, so common. Every person you've ever met and you ever will meet will have felt this exact same way as you. And although it's a little sad, I don't want anyone else to feel this way, it's also reassuring. This is not the first time anyone has felt this way. It's not the first time anyone's even picked up their camera and pressed record when they were feeling this way and going through it. It's been a day and a half. That's nothing. It's 11:30. I still have my whole day ahead of me. Please be gentle with yourself. Thanks for tuning in.